Hey guys, I have a Discord server. Also guys, today we're going to be going over the top 10 best Awp skins in CSGO. Without further ado, let's get right into it. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Do you remember a time when bee-hopping used to be easy? Ah, those were the days.
But Valve decided to release CSGO and make bee-hopping a lot more difficult, and they were basically like, bee-hopping community, go fuck yourself. How is this related at all to the top 10 ops? I need to stop doing drugs. Just a reminder guys, I stream on Twitch every single day, so I just want to let you guys know that every day except for Monday pretty much we go live on Twitch and we stream, and it's always a good time. So if you guys want to come to the streams, check out the link in the description down below. Anyways, hey, what's up guys, it's Tuber here and welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be going over the top 10 best Awp skins in CSGO as of 2019. And obviously, I have to say this is all in my opinion, so your list might be a little bit different. So if your list is different in any way, let me know which ops you kind of prefer over the ones that I picked. Alright, anyways, though, starting off, we have the Awp Boom. And of course, we had to throw this on this list just because it's such an iconic op. It's been around for such a long time, and it just has such a cool design. Pretty much just an orange op with like some comic book like words and stuff on it. Like you can obviously tell it was inspired by comic books, and I actually really like that aesthetic to it. It's also orange too. It's like, I definitely feel like the orange color palette was definitely a good pick for a comic book themed op. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Next up, we have the Awp Redline, and it's a relatively simple skin, but I also had to throw it on the list because it looks super cool. Pretty much what it is it's a carbon fiber-ish kind of op. It's like, you know, blackish for the most part, but then it has like a little red line. It has a little accent of red, which, I mean, that's why it's called the red line. But yeah, the combination of like carbon fiber blackish and then a little red line going down the middle like that, it adds a lot of character. It definitely adds a lot of, like, it makes the skin look pretty cool, in my opinion. Alright, though, next up we have the Awp Onitaiji, and this is like a kind of Japanese kind of inspired skin. There's a lot going on. There's like a samurai just chilling right there, doing whatever samurais do. And then there's like a weird kind of like demon creature thing. Yeah, I mean, overall it's a pretty complicated skin and there's a lot of details, but I think overall it looks pretty dope. And I definitely think it deserved a spot on this list. Alright, now we have the Awp Neo Noir, and one of the cool things that makes this skin one of my favorite ops in the game is the fact that it's the Neo Noir, obviously. And pretty much every Neo Noir in the game just looks super cool, from the USPS to the M4A4, and of course the op is no exception. Basically just it's like a purplish pink op with you know, neon colors, and I think overall it's definitely one of my favorite skins that came out of like the newer cases. You know, obviously a lot of new skins have come out, at least in, you know, in the last year or so, and I think the Awp Neo Noir is one of the better ones. Alright, next up we have the Awp Mortis, and this is actually known kind of as the Awp Dragonpour because it actually has a very similar look and a very similar layout to the Dragonlore, mainly with the checkerboard design on the scope, and then the little dinosaur kind of thing is in a very similar position to the actual dragon on the Dragonlore. So, I mean, obviously it's not the exact same skin, it has a completely different color palette, but, you know, there are some similarities. So essentially it's a, you know, it's a poor man's version of the Dragonlore, which is honestly not that bad because, like, you know, if you can't afford a dealer, which 99.9% of people can't, the Mortis is a nice alternative. Alright, next up we had to go with the Medusa. So, next up is the Awp Medusa, and a lot of people argue that this is the best op in the game and it's way better than the Dragonlore, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I obviously understand it's super expensive, it's really iconic, it's like a, you know, it's an op that everybody knows. It's up there with the Dragonlore in terms of like rarity and popularity. But my biggest problem with the Medusa is the fact that you literally have to inspect it to be able to see the Medusa head. Like, if not, you just see her little hair braids or whatever, or the snake hair. I feel like if the Medusa head was like in a similar position to the Dragonlore, or if there was like another Medusa head like in that position, I feel like that'd be a lot better. But it kind of annoys me that you have to literally inspect it. But I mean, it still is a really cool skin in my opinion, and of course it deserves a spot on this list. Alright, next up I had to go with one of the most popular ops in the game, the Awp Hyperbeast, because this is actually a skin that most people can afford. I mean, it still is pretty expensive. Like, it can be like, if you want to get it in factory new, it's like 60-70 bucks, and if you want to get a stat track one, it can be as much as like $200+. Like, so it's definitely not super affordable. It's not like a couple dollars, but it's definitely a really sick op. Ever since it came out, it's been a fan favorite. I mean, because like the Hyperbeast is a huge part of CSGO. They've made like Hyperbeast computer cases, they made Hyperbeast mouses, Hyperbeast mouse pads. The Hyperbeast design is just so iconic to CSGO. It's just so ingrained in CSGO culture that it's just, if you put it on an op, of course it's going to be popular because it's just such a sick design. This next pick might shock you, but next up I picked the Awp Paw, and it's actually one of the cheapest ops on this list. But the reason why I put it on here is because it's a pattern-based skin. Like, there's so many different patterns and each one looks different. There's so many cats and dogs. Like, I'm a huge fan of like pattern-based stuff, especially when there's so many different versions. Like, there's a lot of little Easter eggs and there's a lot of things that can make your particular Awp Paw, like, you know, either better or worse or whatever. But like, I wanted to throw the Awp Paw on this list because I think it looks really cool and it's really cheap as well, so it's like the perfect combination. All right, next up, and of course you knew this was going to be on this list, I had to go with the Awp Asimov just because it's such a huge part of CSGO. It's like, when you think of CSGO skins, one of the first things that comes to mind is the Awp Asimov, just because it's so iconic. It's like, it's a huge part of CSGO. And the reason why the skin isn't popular isn't because it has like a crazy over-the-top, really sick design. No, it's basically just 3 simple colors. It's orange, black, and white. And the Asimov was actually inspired by a weapon from the movie District 9. I like that movie personally. And pretty much ever since they released the Awp Asimov, they noticed how popular it was and they decided to bring it to other skins in the game. But honestly though, the Awp Asimov is one of the most popular ops in the game. And of course, you know, I wouldn't be doing this list justice if I didn't put it on there. So of course, because of all that, you know, the Awp deserves a well-deserved number 2 spot on this list just for being so iconic and just being, you know, just a cool skin without being too over the top. And it's also within a lot of people's price ranges too. Like, usually if you can afford a knife, you can afford an Awp Asimov. If you can't really afford, like, you know, high tier stuff, the Awp Asimov is a really, really good alternative. And then finally at the number 1 spot, you know it, I had to put the Awp Dragonlore at the number 1 spot just because it is just, you know, it's my personal favorite op in the game. Like, it's such a crazy skin. Like, it's so expensive, but there's so many of them in the world. Like, I understand there's literally thousands of Awp Dragonlores in circulation, but like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe not thousands, but like at least hundreds. But the fact that they're so expensive, like, kind of, it blows my mind. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, Dragonlores are still relatively rare, but they're mainly expensive because the only way to really get them is either in drops or from trade-up contracts. A typical Dragonlore trade-up contract is not cheap. If you want it to be like a 50-50 chance, you're gonna have to spend at least $1,200, $1,500, like, for a factory new Dragonlore. And even then, you have a 50% chance to, you know, rip your money. I mean, I also mentioned the Hyperbeast and the Asimov, but I feel like the Dragonlore is even a step above those just because it's a really popular, well-known skin that is unobtainable for most people. Like, owning a Dragonlore is kind of like being in a club, basically. You're in a club that only the top 1% of people can join, or the top 1% of people, like, in terms of wealth, can join. No, I mean, it's deeper than that. The Dragonlore represents the dream. It represents the grind. If you get to a point in your life where you can afford a Dragonlore and not lose your house, like, you know, you're not in a terrible spot. Like, for me personally, the reason why I own a Dragonlore is because it's basically, it helps me validate every decision I've ever made, and it makes me realize, you know, even though I've been through a lot, ultimately though, I'm still here. I still have this skin, which took me a very long time to get. Alright, so I started getting really, like, philosophical about the whole Dragonlore thing, but let me basically sum it all up. The Dragonlore is more of a status symbol than a skin. The reason why you would want one is because it's a symbol of your success in life. Not just anyone could afford a Dragonlore. You need to have a certain amount of success, which will allow you to actually pick up a skin that's potentially over $2,000, depending on the condition in the float. I mean, the Dragonlore is basically a legend. The Dragonlore has been around for a very long time, and there are a lot in existence, but like, so many people know it exists, but it's like out of reach for a vast majority of the people who play the game. So it's just, I mean, that's the reason why I like it, just because it's so unobtainable for so many people. Plus, I kind of like the design too. The, you know, the checkerboard design, the dragon, like, just all of it looks really cool. You could argue there's better ops in the game, but in my opinion, my favorite op is the Dragonlore. I don't know, what do you guys think? What are your top 10 favorite ops, or what changes would you make to my list if you made this video? Just let me know in the comments down below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, share, subscribe, click that bell icon. And if you watched the video all the way until the end, leave a comment saying #Turbo. My favorite op is blank and blank and blank. Leave as many ops as you want. Like, so make sure you leave a comment with your favorite op in the form of a hashtag. And if you do that, I'll do my best to try to give you guys a heart. I just, you know, I like reading the comments, and I like, you know, seeing what you guys have to say. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure you join my Discord server, follow me on Twitch, check out my social media. Pretty much all the links are down below, and I guess overall, just thanks for watching. It's Turbo, and I'm out. Peace.